It can went from $750 to $40,000 over nothing. I'm fucking this whole state up then, man. We're going all the way to the Supreme Court. We're going to court on this.
A deaf man walked into a Michigan courtroom facing 2 misdemeanor charges and a bond set at $750. He walked out owing $40,000. He never raised a weapon. He never threatened anyone. He never fled. In under 5 minutes, a single judge transformed a routine arraignment into one of the most explosive courtroom exchanges ever caught on camera. And the question every legal expert is now asking is whether what happened in that room was justice or something else entirely. Robert Williamson was not a sympathetic figure on paper. He had a history, old charges years behind him, the kind of record that follows a man into a room before he even opens his mouth. But history is not the same as guilt, and on the day of his arraignment, Williamson was there for 2 misdemeanors, operating a vehicle with the presence of drugs and resisting and obstructing an officer, not violent crimes, not federal offenses. The kind of charges that, in most courtrooms across this country, result in a modest bond, a future court date, and a man going home to his family that same afternoon.
Does he stand mute and waive formal reading?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm entering a not guilty plea. I got an operating with the presence of drugs, and I got a resist, hinder, and obstruct an officer charge. So your lawyer is telling me you stand mute and waive formal reading. Has he been printed on this, Sergeant?
Yes. Yes, he has.
That is not what happened here. From the moment Williamson entered that courtroom, something was already off. He kept asking the judge to repeat himself. He leaned forward. He spoke too loudly. He interrupted at the wrong moments. To anyone watching without context, he looked defiant, erratic, difficult. But Williamson had been telling anyone who would listen the same thing from the start. He was half deaf. He could not hear what was being said to him. And in a room where every word carries legal consequence, that is not a small problem. That is the entire problem.
I'm sorry, what? I can't hear. I'm half deaf. I'm sorry. I'm half deaf.
All right, let me put it to you this way. You got stopped. I don't want you to acknowledge that you did, but at some point it's going to be pretty clear to me that you did get stopped. If you had mail issues, you should have called the courthouse. You should have called the police department. Now you got yourself in a real predicament.
The judge, Sergeant Mitchell presiding, was not moved. He had a docket to manage.
I want to know why he hasn't shown up.
I apologize.
Why did you not show up?
I didn't get notice.
Well, you knew you got stopped. You should have called the court. We sent it to. Is that your address?
That's my address, but sometimes things get dropped. Sometimes things get dropped. You know what I mean?
We sent 2 letters there. If they came back, we would have put them in the file.
Oh,
you were supposed to be here on April 30, and then you were supposed to be here on May the 14th, and you didn't show up either time, and I don't have any return envelope or any envelope
stamped. He had a courtroom to control, and Robert Williamson, whether he could hear or not, was disrupting both. Think about the last time you tried to explain yourself to someone who had already decided what you meant. A supervisor who called your clarification attitude. A situation where the harder you tried to communicate, the worse it looked. That is exactly what was unfolding inside this courtroom, except the stakes were not a bad performance review. The stakes were a man's freedom. When Williamson's attorney entered a not guilty plea and waived formal reading, the hearing should have moved quickly toward bond. Instead, the judge began reviewing Williamson's history. Home invasion from 1998. Prior impaired driving charges. Williamson pushed back immediately. You cannot hold that against me. It is over 12 years old. And here is where the law is actually on his side. Under standard sentencing guidelines and bond assessment practices in most jurisdictions, prior convictions more than 10 years old carry significantly reduced weight. The judge acknowledged this. He told the courtroom the history was old and that the right conclusions should be drawn.
I mean, he's got a heck of a history here. Home invasion, 98. Impaired, 99.
You can't hold that against me. You can't hold that against me. You can't hold none of that against me because that was over 12 years ago. You can't hold none of that against me. 10 years or older, they don't hold it against you.
Sure, it's your history. I will tell the court that it is pretty old, and you make the right conclusions based on that.
Okay?
I'm getting mixed signals. Mixed signals.
It sounded almost reasonable, but it did not stay that way, because then Williamson did the one thing the judge had decided he would not tolerate. He kept talking. He interrupted. He raised his voice. He used profanity, not directed at the judge, not as a threat, but as a frustrated exclamation about what was happening to him. And in that moment, the judge issued a ruling that stopped the
Yeah,
entire
horrible.
room.
He's switching me around. Why don't you stop switching me to fuck around, bro?
How about you stop talking and listen?
I'm going
I
to
can't,
set you
I'm deaf.
down now. You cannot leave the state without the consent of the court. You cannot violate a law. You must appear in court as directed. If you're going to be so defiant, that tells me you're a flight risk. 40,000, 10%. No alcohol, no marijuana.
Bond raised from $750 to $40,000. 10% required, no alcohol, no marijuana, no controlled substances, no leaving the state. $40,000 for 2 misdemeanors because a deaf man could not stop talking.
None.
My bond is 40,000.
10%. It could be
It
40,000
can't be because it can't be because I have 2 misdemeanor charges, bud.
Sit back.
We're going to trial then, bro.
Sit back.
It came went from $750 to 40,000 over nothing. I'm fucking this whole state up then, man.
You got
We're going
about
all the way to
50
Supreme Court. We're going to court on this.
You got about
You can't
15
sit there and then take me from a $250 bond to 40,000 for nothing.
Here is what the law says about bond. Under the 8th Amendment to the United States Constitution, excessive bail is explicitly prohibited. Bond is not punishment. Bond exists for one purpose: to ensure the defendant returns to court. Judges are permitted to consider flight risk, danger to the community, and criminal history. What judges are not permitted to do is raise a bond as retaliation for courtroom behavior they find irritating. The moment bond becomes a tool of punishment rather than a guarantee of appearance, it crosses a constitutional
Law.
Keep
line.
me in jail the whole time.
Listen, if you give me one more bit of guff, I'm setting this case for next October, and I'm setting a bond of 100,000 cash. You want to keep going on, tough guy? You want
I'm
to
not
keep
being
going
tough. I
on,
The
can't-
tough
judge
guy?
then went further. He looked directly at Williamson and said the words that define this entire case. One more bit of guff, and I am setting this for next October with a bond of $100,000 cash. Read that again, $100,000 cash, not 10% cash. For a man charged with misdemeanors, because he would not stop speaking. Williamson finally broke, he begged. He apologized. He said he took it all back. He told the judge his mother was dying and asked to go home. And the
Yeah,
judge
I
said
can't-
no.
Tough guy, feel free.
I want a
Yeah.
PR bond. I want to go home. I want to go home. I want a PR bond.
40,000. No,
Please.
no, no. You're
But then
disrespectful.
I'm suing you then.
Good, sue me. Okay? Come on, bring it on.
He
Can't
told
wait.
Williamson he could hear just fine when he wanted to defend himself, a remark that revealed something important. The judge had decided the deafness was a performance.
I didn't mean to yell at you. I can't. I'm deaf. I didn't mean to yell at you.
You use the F
I apologize. Can we start over?
No,
Please?
no,
Can we start over?
no,
Please?
no, no.
Please, can we start? I can't hear you, so I'm yelling. I'm not
You
a tough
use-
guy. I just.
You use the F-bomb with me.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you did?
I never cussed you. I would not disrespect you. I can't. I
Listen.
wouldn't disrespect you like that. I apologize.
He had decided Williamson was manipulating the courtroom, and once a judge decides that, no amount of truth changes it. So here is the question this case demands you answer honestly. If Robert Williamson had been composed, soft-spoken, and deferential, if he had simply nodded and said yes, sir, to everything, would his bond still have gone to $40,000? Or was the $40,000 never really about flight
Apologize.
risk at all?
Listen,
Please, my mom's dying right now. Will you please let me go home?
I'm convinced you can hear a lot better than you think, or at least letting on, because all of a sudden you were able to comprehend.
The case did not end in that room. Williamson's bond stood. He did not go home that day. His attorney would eventually have grounds to challenge the bond increase as punitive and constitutionally excessive, and any appellate review of that hearing would have a recording that speaks for itself. But the system that allowed it to happen in the first place faced no immediate consequence. The judge faced no review that morning. The $40,000 did not get walked back in that courtroom. A deaf man with a dying mother and 2 misdemeanor charges sat in custody while the docket moved on to the next case.
One thing I've decided, Mr. Williamson, I'm not listening to tough guys. You got it? You want to play tough guy? Get into
I'm not playing
WWF or
tough guy.
something. I don't know what to tell you. June 11th.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, it's not good enough.
I'm half deaf. I didn't know all the screens were up.
I could set it. I could just find you in contempt of court.
I didn't know that all the screens were up.
30 days. One more word. I'm going to do that. I'm telling you.
I have mental disabilities. Just hold on.
That is the part of this story that should stay with you. Not just what happened to Robert Williamson, but how quickly it happened. 5 minutes. No violence. No new crime. Just a man who could not hear, could not stay quiet, and could not afford the cost of both. The courtroom is supposed to be the place where power answers to law. When the person holding the gavel forgets that the law applies to them too, the entire system fails, not just the defendant standing in front of it. What happened to Robert Williamson is a reminder that constitutional rights do not enforce themselves. Someone has to be in that room willing to say this is wrong, even when saying so costs them everything. If you have seen a moment in a courtroom where power was abused and no one was held accountable, tell us in the comments. We want to cover it. Subscribe and share this video so that cases like this one never disappear quietly into a courthouse file.